in my meeting with Foreign Minister Lavrov, I made very clear our deep concerns and our resolve to hold Russia responsible for its actions.
All right, he might have relayed the deep concerns, but Congressman Mike McCaul of House Foreign Affairs Committee has his doubts. He's joining us right now. Congressman, good to see you. Obviously, we've got these, 100,000 Russian troops poised at the border on the Ukraine, and I have a feeling they're not just taking in the beautiful views. What is your worry?
No. My worry is an invasion, the size of which we haven't seen since World War II. They are very determined, very serious about this. There are about 100,000 Russian troops on the Ukraine border as I speak, with many more on their way from Moscow. And you have to ask the question, what provoked this? I would go back to Afghanistan and the showing of weakness by the unconditional surrender to the Taliban. This has provoked not only Mr. Putin, but also President Xi and China as they look at Imperial China and Taiwan and the islands in the South China Sea. This is all happening, in real time, and it's happening very quickly after the fall of Afghanistan. Now,
this troop presence, and you're right to allude to it, it's gotten pretty big now, but it has been a steady and very, very, unstoppable buildup that goes back to the early part of the spring, in fact. But I'm wondering why the Russians might risk it when they know the economic wrath they'll take. They did it before, to your point, in 2012, so that is a legitimate concern. I'm just wondering where you see this going and why they would risk that when it comes to just the economic harm that would come to them.
Well, they've always wanted Ukraine back. I think Putin wants the old Soviet empire, and Ukraine was the breadbasket of Russia. So this has been on their plate for quite some time. They've always wanted to take it back, and I think they're making a calculation. This president is exhibiting weakness, and he's not going to respond. So I think it's important for the administration to show deterrence here, and for our NATO allies to demonstrate to Putin this will come at a high price if you do this. If they can move in like China did in Hong Kong with no shot fired, then they'll do it.
I'm sorry. When you say a high price, that it would go beyond economic sanctions and all, would the high price be our sending in troops to respond, NATO to up the ante and militarily respond? What exactly are you saying?
Well, I think the sanctions would be extremely important, I think effective. I do think it's important that NATO and our allies have a presence in Ukraine as this threat plays out. But remember, this is the same president and administration who, when Congress put mandatory sanctions on Nord Stream 2 pipeline that will go from Russia into Europe, President Biden waived those sanctions in the national interest. I don't know how that's in the national security interest of the United States to allow Putin to complete his pipeline into Russia, making Europe dependent on Russian oil and gas. In fact, in the National Defense Authorization debate going on right now, I passed an amendment to take away that presidential waiver, and that is sitting now in the Senate. And this has been Secretary Blinken's #1 job right now, is to get my amendment stripped out of the National Defense Authorization. I don't understand this foreign policy that emboldens our adversaries like Mr. Putin. I think he sees that as weakness. And the only reason they did it is because they had a summit with Putin and they wanted to make him, happy in this discussion.
All right, we'll watch very, very closely. Congressman Michael McCaul, very good seeing you again.